hop on and see if everybody's having a really good summer. I hope that you're putting to use some of the things that we've talked about over the last however many months it's been, in some people's case, weeks, and in some people's, years. You've been hanging around and listening to me babbling on about, my approach to things, which, is not often conventional, but it's all, I think the important thing is that it's all rooted in the same theory that, look, we need a couple of things to be happening, right? To play the guitar. We've already figured that out and we're working on it. And that's our guitar journey. And my philosophy is simple. Keep it simple at the beginning and really polish what you do, whatever it is you do at whatever level you're at. So, for example, what I mean by that is if you're just starting out, then, you put everything there is into learning and playing and navigating your way through and around your first 3 or 4 chords. Those will be from the same key. That will allow you to start playing all your favorite songs as soon as you can play those chords. And really, it's that simple. The rest is up to you with the hard work. Now, you've been there, you've been playing a little bit, okay? Now you want to take it to the next level. Well, how would I go about that? Well, we got to start all over in a way. Now, you've built up a guitar foundation, so you're already really good at doing something, at strumming, at singing and playing, at playing some songs. So now you're not a beginner anymore. So now when you start to learn something, there's a reason. It's because you want to, because you could stay in this mode the rest of your life. Kumbaya, knocking on heaven's door, yeah, yeah, ba, ba, right? You'd be that guy, no problem. For those of you that want more than that, now you got to take on a new set of responsibilities, right? And the list goes on and on. Now, one of those things, in my opinion, is chord fingering. And I just wanted to do a segment on this. I also can't see your messages from where I am right now, so I'm going to stop once in a while and I'll go through the messages. So hello to anybody who's regularly joins us, and welcome to anybody that doesn't know who the heck I am. And I'm a nobody, so, all right. But, so, as far as where we go next is because you want to. And when you want to do something that's different. Now you have the skill, you got the guitar foundation, you're a guitar player, but now you got to learn something different like triads. Okay. So you got to know what they are, and then you got to figure out, oh, that's the shape. That shape, oh, that's a shape there, okay. That's a shape there, that's a shape, oh, but I don't play those. You got a learning curve, but it will be a lot sooner, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today is how to prep yourself. Give yourself the tools that you need to succeed and to really enjoy this instrument, even at the most basic level, right? So one of those things that you're going to have to prepare for is start playing your chords as often as possible with your back 3 fingers, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, the first noticeable in anyone that watches me play is you'll see that I do this a lot, right? And a lot of people have asked, what is that? What are you playing there? What are you doing here? Okay, so what's happening is I play my G with these back fingers. Now the notes are the exact same way as if you play them the beginner way or the traditional way. And I still play my G like this too, right? But there's the traditional way. I just flip it around. Now, you don't realize it, that it's a little difficult at first. I went years playing the other way before I flipped it around. So I kept, when I was in the crunch, I went back to the old way to get to my G, but after a while, it just became. Now, what has happened just by doing that, right? It changes, it opens up the whole hand, but you don't realize it yet, right? Because you're just playing your your chords, and yeah, your chords are starting to sound better. Well, that's because you're starting to figure out that there's different ways to fret that C or that D, and you can sort of do a few things, to, right? Okay, so little pinky dab, just keep the same one to keep it consistent, right? Because it is a G note. Little things like that, right? That you can really incorporate easily into your regular play. Now, by switching to my back fingers, it opens up this finger here. Now, I got that going on. I never had that before. I didn't, whatever. Right? It's right there. So what am I playing? I'm playing a G, but now I'm putting my finger somewhere. It could be anywhere, whatever works. That doesn't work. That's nothing. Okay? No, there it is, right? You can interact with your pinky. See, I got my pinky here on the G, right? And I could swap that off, right? All from that position like that. Also, which you may not be doing yet, the transition to bar chords. So now from here, I can go to an F sharp, right? I got everything is all in its place. It just needs to be slid into a different position. Whereas when you have your G this way, you got to twist your whole hand around to get to various chords and back. Especially if you're playing as an open player, you will be playing a lot in the key of G. Therefore, G will be coming up a lot in your rotation. Even if you're playing in the key of C, it is the fifth of G. So the one remember I told you about the 1 and the 5, they got that thing going on. They sound amazing together in both notes, right? G, right? Then we know that that's the 4th, that's the C, so the D. So G and D go really well together. And that's why that's a power chord if you just play them together, right? We know that. There's your G power chord, A power chord, G power. So just those two notes, they go together. So remember that. So they go together with notes. If I'm playing along, or if I'm playing, or if I want to write something, or if I want to know what to do, well, look, then let's see what they sound like. Oh. So the 1 chord in G and the 5 chord in G. Right? Look. There's the G. Here's the G note. There's the D note. G chord. D chord. So the musical relationship is exactly the same. The relationship between the 1 and 3 note, the 1 and 3 chord, the 1 and 4 chord is the same. So we know that and we remember that, so that when we are playing along with other people, right, then you know that you want to follow that chord progression with your notes whenever possible, unless you're playing a specific scale. Then you can play, the reason you choose a scale is you can play any note in any order and it'll all sound good. Some combinations will sound amazing and others will just sound good, but that's why you play the scale. If you want to freelance it and just play by the notes and kind of, well, now, yeah, you got to know what's going on. And look, this is next level. Again, I'm talking to you as a group, so I know that there's going to be some of you here that are watching thinking, no, I don't get it already. That's fine. This is for those of you that want to take it to the next level. You'll know what I'm talking about. And this is what you need to prepare yourself in your next phase of your journey. You're gonna have to start understanding keys, the relationships between notes and keys, how keys work, what chords are in a key, how to find out what chords are in a key. This is all something that you are going to benefit from greatly. you know, you'll still use Google and you'll still do all that, but you'll need to have this forefront in your mind when you're playing with other musicians or you're being creative. You got to know, you got to know where your guides are. You got to know what chords you can safely use. Then you can embellish later and figure things out. But you want to stay, you just got to know. And that's from the theory, right? So what I meant about alternate fingering, we got a little bit off track there, is that by just opening up my G this way to this way, has opened this finger up to so many things, right? That, you just know I can do a lot with, right? Down the road, wherever. So that helped. Now, the next thing is the relationship in music. When I noticed that there was a lot of GC going on, right? So when, again, we talk about 1-4-5s. So if you're talking about the relationship between G and C, well, C would be G's G, A, B, C, fourth, right? So it's always located under the 1. There's G, so there's the C note on the guitar. 1, 4, 5, right? So in the 12-bar blues, this would be G, C, D, okay? So if we're playing the 12-bar blues and I'm going on the G chord, you're on the 1 note playing along with me. And when I switch to the 4 chord, right, then you would go to the 4 note, which is right under the G. So when I go to the C, you would go to the C note. We know that's how you're going to have to start thinking, right? Now, again, the alternate fingering will allow you better flexibility when you start breaking into bar chords. It's all right there. And it'll start you getting used to learning your bar chords, because the fingering is going to be with the back 3 fingers in either the E major, the E minor, the A minor, okay, or the A major shapes that you're going to have to make in front of the bar. Okay, that's what's coming. Now, if you want to avoid the bar chord segment of your journey and say, look, I'm adamant that maybe I'll play the B minor because it's comfortable for me and I can do it. If you don't want to play or can't play, I myself have limitations with my wrist, and it flares up and then it's good for a bit and on and on. I find, that's when the triads come in. Now, in order to play triads, you are now really going to have to start depending on these back 2 fingers so much. So if they're not up to snuff yet, you owe it to yourself to start. Even if you took a couple of triad fingerings like this, if you went like, let's play something like, right? Now, this would be a C chord. My root would be on my ring finger, and I can move that to the D. So I would use a shape like this just to play, or maybe even just arpeggiate. Get used to get used to sounding out those notes using the pinky and the ring finger, because that is going to be so important moving forward. I posted a video as an example of alternate fingering. Let's say we're playing, with our alternate fingering. If we played something like, I don't know. We got like something like an A minor 7 going on, right? We can sort of, there's your full A minor. Now the only difference is I'm playing it with my back fingers. So there's your A minor, and I can go like an A minor 7 or whatever that is, and maybe, whatever. Okay? Now, if I slide that up and add my forefinger right there, well, that gives me I've got possibilities. So I don't know if you saw what I did there. So I went from, let's say this is traditional fingering. There's my A minor. Sometimes we just play, we take this finger off and we just play that top string of the A minor. I think that's like your 7. I really don't care what it is, but it's an A minor something. And then sometimes we could do this, and there's another. So all we're doing is we're fretting the other, playing it open the other way around, right? Instead of it being the top one, we're doing this. Gives us a little something, something. So if we did that and just used our back fingers, so now we're playing with our back fingers. We slid that up, added that finger. There's a B minor. Now it's really high, right? I find it too high, but there's your B minor right there. Oh, sorry, right there. There's your B minor, right? So you could, you're playing triads. I mean, and when you look at the B minor chord, right? You're talking about this. So this big finger doesn't move. You're just barring this and making room for your pinky, and you've got a true B minor officially by the book. Right? So all you're doing is you're giving up this B right here, and you're playing the F sharp that you're supposed to play with the fudgier finger at that bottom part there. That's the F sharp. You're playing that directly. So you're going to get a better sounding F sharp, which is going to give it just that little at the end there. Right? That's a properly. I don't know if you always get that when you bar your B minor. You don't always get that twang at the bottom. It's, you got to get in there with the fleshy part, right? So when you look at the chord, it's actually, there's the back end of the B minor. All I'm doing is taking the bar away and putting it here, right? And I'm only using one of these fingers to fret one string instead of 2 for 2. So I'll just adjust it. But there's, you know, that's it. There's your B minor right there. And you notice, again, this big finger doesn't move, right? It's just an adjustment you make to the fingering, B minor 7 or whatever. So it's right there. So there's your B minor. If you don't want to do the bar chord, just do that. And again, that's a great way to develop this fingering right here. Because if you start practicing going to that B minor, for example, right? I always go to the C sharp minor because I use that as I like that chord. So that's why I'm always 1 or 2 frets away from when I play the B minor this way. I don't know why. It's just a horrible habit. I know that's the B minor, and a lot of times I'm here. But I mean, it's different. Like, it's just, you know. Now, I've never had an issue playing the B minor. I like playing the B minor, but it can hurt the back of my hand sometimes. So anyways, both ways are great. But I just thought that for me, what I used to do was I started doing that. So I would start playing my A minor this way. So there's my A minor 7, using these 2 fingers, right? That's you know, where we had it before here. I'm putting using this string up here, gives it a bassier sound. Is it politically correct? Probably not, but it works, right? So, but this is the way it should be. This is these three strings, 3 fingers, 3 frets. 1, 2, and 3. There's your B minor, right? Okay, so we can slide that. There's your C sharp minor. That often is paired with an A. that's a you'll see that quite a bit. So if you don't want to play this version of it, right? That's the alternative. I don't mind barring in this area. It gets a little easier on my hand anyways. I know you didn't hear that, but my wrist just clicked, by the way. That's okay. That's all right. So anyways, all of that is going to necessitate you really building up strength in these three fingers. You probably already got that finger going. This finger's for some of you for sure, but a lot of you are still, like me, neglecting your pinky, right? I did that for years. I'm still working on my pinky all the time. So it's something that's always conscious for me. All right, so alternate fingering. Also, as an open chord player, was allowed me to really speed things up because, again, I wasn't rotating my hand every time I had to go to G, which, as we mentioned, is so often for open chord players and new guitar players. So, look, G, C, F. Right? It's all there. 1, 2, 3. Minimal movement. Now, if some of you are playing your F bar chord, then you're looking at something along these lines, right? Oh my God, all the time. Like that just hurt me just doing it. Yeah, that would be uncomfortable. So even this I found, where now I can just, and if it's F, if we're in the key of C and I'm playing like the 1, 4, 5, right? I just find that so much easier and smoother, and I can add more speed, right? And I can, I can sort of, I just find it a lot easier. It took a little while to get used to, but it's well worth it to put the time in to get you playing your G that way. And it automatically brings your pinky into play, right? So right off the bat, you start getting some pinky pain, okay? That means she's finally having to earn her keep there. So I know a lot of you use your, for that G is the ring finger, but now we're, and this will help moving forward. So that's my big tip that I wanted to talk about first and foremost. And just how to approach learning. Now, for those of you that aren't here, but you're good chord players, and that's all you want to be, and you're learning, you're building your repertoire of songs, and you're just enjoying guitar life. That's what it's about. That's me. That's what it's about. So, hey, if you're there and you don't want to go and worry about all this other garbage, you see what I mean now? When I was, I've been telling people now for a few years that, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to be a virtuoso, and you don't have to be like all these people on the videos that you see. You just have to be you, right? And you owe it to yourself to be the best version of you as you want to be, or that you have time to be. And again, that's a big part of it, right? The more time you have, the more time you put into anything, the better you will be. And this is no exception, obviously. So, we learn the basics, and the rest is on us. And that's all you can do. I can hopefully maybe people like me motivate. I don't know. If I do, fantastic. I hope so, because I hope I'm getting the message out that it's not as difficult as it looks, but it's difficult to get to that part to make it not as difficult as it looks, if that makes any sense. What uh, well, that's what it is. Again, I can't see all your messages, but I see something about, yes, you're right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's right. You know, that's the whole thing. It's yourself. You can be your worst critic. I know I am. That's why I never get anything finished, because I never finish it, because it's never finished, right? That's my problem. I'm sure it's a lot of people's problems. You know how much stuff I have, uh, not in the can, but in the chute, in the chute, and it just, no, because the next day I want sound, no, it should sound this way or that way, or um, you know, it should be this or it should be that, or that's my problem. So at least with this, it's there you go, there you have it, and you throw it out there and whatever, you know. But if I sat here and overthought everything, I would never have anything out at all. Um, I would never have anything out at all. So, anyways, getting back to alternate fingering, I want to talk about one more alternate fingering that, for me, really unlike it, just light bulb went off and I realized what I can do now. And that was all this one shape, and that was that A shape, right? This one right here. And it's funny because I always see these guys playing stuff. Well, we've all seen, all that, whatever, little riffs, right? And once I not only figured it out, but it's fussy. The one finger bar for the A, this did so much for me. So once you figure it out, now the theory is what you got. This is just an A major chord. When we play all 5 strings, right? It's an A major because we're playing the open A. That's the root, the bass root, and on out through the guitar. Now, the triad is actually right here. Okay? Those are the 3 notes that we're trying to fret without the others. Now, we don't care if we're muting the others out because it's not an open chord. Remember, it's a triad. That means every note is covered, right? So it's only those 3 notes. So I don't care if fleshy, tushy part of my finger here, I don't care if I'm muting out that E, because I'm not playing, if I was playing an E major chord, right? And something was blocking that E and not letting it ring out like that, that would affect the chord. It's part of the chord, right? But in this case, what we're playing is not part of the chord, right? So we're only playing those 3 notes, those 3 strings. So if I go down and hit that string and I don't get anything, that's fine, right? Now, so you're saying, well, what's so great about that? Well, okay, first of all, for all you wannabe blues players out there, at some point, you're going to want to be doing stuff here, right? With off that A, off that A, off that A. You're going to, I don't know. Like, there's stuff you guys do. I'm not a big, but you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So that puts you in that position. Like, everything is sort of there, ready to go where you want to go from there. Now, the other, for me, the most important reason was, that's an A. Well, if I just play those same 3 strings, nothing else, and fret them just right, that replaces me having to play this. Man, this is my kryptonite. I haven't played this for so long. This B major bar chord thing, I just play this. That's what I play for the B. And then, of course, well, I guess that's a C. D, E, F, G, open G. I mean, it just unlocked everything as far as having another way in an emergency, or to try to fit in, or when I'm not sure what's going on and I got to play a certain chord. Okay, so I'll play it here because everyone else is playing it there. It just opened everything up. But for me, not having to play that B major bar chord, I avoided so many songs because of that. And then all of a sudden to be able to replace it. So I've got a Band-Aid on my finger, so I might have a little problem with the mobility here. But like one of the songs for me that I simplified. Now instead of B7, I go up to the B and I play it sort of high, right? Right? I play, that's just an example of replacing like something like a B7 or something along that line with that B triad, but emphasizing the higher couple of strings in it. And that was a game changer for me, right? And then from there, when I realized that the D is also a triad once we leave home base, when we play the D chord, we have that open D and we strum out through the guitar, right? Well, now we don't play that, it becomes a triad. So we got D, F, G, A. So if that's a G, and that's a C, that must be a D. I got this funky GCD here that I can use, right? So that started to, all of a sudden my vocabulary is getting a little bit doubling, so that's how I went about things. And then I basically ignored everything for a while, and I made sure that I really understood and I could play and take advantage of being able to play those chords there when I wanted to play a G there, or even an F here instead of here, But again, most of the time it's to avoid that B major bar chord. So that all came a result of alternate fingering. Now, I'm not telling you never to play your A like this anymore, because I can play with my pinky there. I know I can get I can get different stuff out of my A, right? Now, I just prefer the simplicity of that. And again, instead of having to rearrange everything, I can go from shift back here to the A's. There's my D's. I got my E's. I could shift into that when I want to. Whatever. Like it's another weapon in your bag. That's the way I look at it. So again, those two alternate fingerings for me changed everything. Changed, a lot of stuff. So, um, hi everybody. Yeah, good one, Terry. Welcome everybody. If you're wondering who the heck I am and what's going on here, well, first of all, I am a nobody, as I said before, but I am someone who taught myself to play guitar and figured out, in no time, went from zero to hero after 2 failed attempts. And I talk on my channel through videos and through live shows that we schedule throughout the winter or the fall winter. This is considered, summer is just free. Everybody's doing other things. So I pop up sporadically. But we talk about, the quickest way to get playing the guitar. And the biggest problem people run into is the fact that you don't know how to learn the guitar because everybody's telling you something different. And the real answer to that is you need to ask yourself, what do you want to do with your guitar? And it's really simple. I mean, if you just want to be like most of us, maybe it's late in life, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. You just want to play guitar. You want to learn the instrument. You want to start playing your favorite songs as soon as you can, and as efficiently as you can, right? And then see where it goes from there. Well, if that's the case, yeah, like me, I wasted years trying to learn things that not only have I never used, but I just don't use. And I found out you don't need. And things like, scales and triads and bar chords and power chords and all that stuff. And I wasted so much time because when you figure it out, look, I worked on nothing but bar chords for 3-4 months. And then nothing but my A minor pentatonic scale for another 3-4 months. Now we're up to, 6-8 months, right? And, okay, so to put that in perspective, because you're all gung-ho at first, put in the time, there's no doubt about that. Put in hours and hours, we know that. None of this 20 minutes a day crap. You're there doing it. And look, if I had just done this from day one, okay? If I had just done that from day one, and then every day, same thing, eventually, then it becomes, right? Okay. Now, all of a sudden, I'm however long it took me to get there, and I'm going to tell you, probably take you a good solid 6 months of just constantly, just at it all the time, just getting those chord changes down, not having to look as much, knowing everything's landing right, starting to think about your strumming hand, get it loose, get it comfortable. This is so much to ask. I'm looking back. Hindsight is always 20/20. I get it. But the reason I do this is to show you that this is all you need. What you're doing day one, learn those 3 chords and polish those 3 chords. You will be playing, you already know this, there are thousands and thousands of songs in all genres. Classic hits to never heard befores and everywhere in between. Heck, I go to these open mics sometimes and with like an older crowd, and some of these old folk songs these folks whip out, I never heard them in my life, right? I'm like, where do they come from? There's songs out there that you just, I mean, you have no idea. And but at the end of the day, they're GCDs or AEBs or DAGs or CFGs. That's all they are. So I said to myself, if that's the case, shouldn't I be learning those chords? So G, C, and D is how I started. If you fancy yourself a blues person, I would probably go this way. I would probably go D, A, E, in any order. You know, there's a lot of Johnny Cash stuff. The blues, right? This will allow you to play the blues, different bars of blues. Uh, so you could play in the key of A. You could play a 12 bar blues, which is so popular because a lot of those guys really like to solo in A. I find, anyways. So if you can play the 12 bar blues in A, that's really good, right? And that's that A, D, it's that rotation. So that would be one that where you would start. And it doesn't matter where you start. It just, what this does, this allows, if you learn the one, what they call the 1-4-5, don't want to confuse ultra beginners here, you don't have to know this, but it's what they call the 1-4-5 chord within a key. And those are always the major chords. So you're, as an open chord beginner, you're going to learn in the best keys that have all open chords for 1-4-5, and that's G and C and, D, right? A, and, so that's, you're going to play a lot of those chords. So the more of them that you know, the better. Especially, again, from the same key, because that's how songs are written, using the chords from within one key. Now, there are exceptions, I get it, but that's for the most part. So learn the chords within a key first. So if it's key of C, then you learn CFG. If it's the key of G, you learn GCD. If it's the key of A, you would learn A, D, and E. All right. You could do also DAG. Whichever three you learn or want to learn, right? Yeah, that's right, Terry. I mean, there's no rule that says, you have to be taught by someone. Absolutely. Sometimes I suppose if I had have taken maybe a couple of lessons or gone somewhere for, it might have helped. I don't know. I, I don't think so because it wouldn't have given me any more dedication or motivation because I was gung ho like everybody is at the beginning, right? Um, I think maybe it can always help, but I often wonder that. But yeah, most people are self-taught, and it's ironic because I used to hear all these things about playing by ear and doing this and doing that, and finally, the third time around, when I finally did make progress, and it happened so quickly, and it was exactly that. It was playing by ear, meaning play what you think sounds good. And when you start doing that, and then kind of looking at it after, going, hey, what was I just playing there? That sounded really good. And you write the chord progression down, you Google it, and you find out there's all these hit songs that have that same chord progression that your ear told you without knowing sounded good. So now I just started strumming all these chords together and realizing, hey, this is a song. Da, 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 da. Hey, that's just a bunch of chords that I learned way back. Yeah, but now it's the way you play them that turns them into songs. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 right? Oh, baby, I love your way. Yeah. I wanna tell you I love your way. So many things you can do with the same, we all know that. But for those drifting in and beginners always joining us, that's how easy it can be. I didn't do anything fancy there. There was no, this is it. I'm just sitting here with a guitar and a microphone in front of me, and that's it. It's just strumming. It's just these motors. Once you get these hands moving, everything you do is going to be easy until you take the next big jump in your journey if you want to go there. If you want to stay doing this, man, you'll be playing songs, you'll be learning. I think once I could do this, my repertoire of songs right off the bat, it was like 30. It was about as much as lyrics as I can remember. Now I couldn't. Everything, if it isn't, if I don't have it written down, forget it. Like I have maybe a handful of songs that I can not even worry about lyrics looking at, I guess. And I can play, with a bit of look, I can play, 100, 150 songs. And plus I got my own songs, more than a dozen of those. So, yeah, it's all, repetition. Practice every day and your chords just start sounding better. And remember what I always tell you, I'm going to leave you with this. It took me years before I started doing this. And it's so important. The moment that you can not babysit Lefty, so as soon as you're confident that 10 times out of 10, you don't even have to worry about it, and all your needs are met, okay? Any chord you want to play, anything, he's got your back, all right? All right, so once you get into that, everything goes here, okay? And maybe even before this guy knows, the odd mistake is okay. But the point here is, yes, you do have to understand how your chord is supposed to sound, how it's supposed to play, and you'll find out that 99 times out of 100, there's a reason you finger it the way you do, because it just works. And don't argue with legend and time. So play the chord, right? But remember, that's it. You'll be playing it like that the rest of your time. So leave it alone now. Let it do its thing. Now we can turn our attention, right? So now we can turn this, like you just got these 3 chords, and as an example, and if you just add lived a good job in the city, looking funny down, right? Or, she got a smile that it seems to me right in town. Right? Simple chords, some strumming, some heart and soul, a rhythm going, whatever. Now, look, here's the last thing, the rhythm thing. Look, there's no law that says you got to play it exactly the same way as the guy on the record or any of that stuff, right? You know, just play the song the way you want to play the song. Okay. Now, timing, rhythm, all it's very important, so important. But remember, it's important if you need to maintain the exact integrity of the song you're playing. If you're in a tribute band, if you are playing in a band, if you are with another player, you all got to be on the same page. You can't be off doing your own thing. So that's timing is so important, you know. And if you can't just, no, I'll just figure it out when I get there. Well, you got to get it into your blood somehow. But it doesn't mean that when you're playing on your own, you're doing your own thing. If you want to take an extra bar or two on the D, or slow it down a little bit, or speed it up a little bit, and you're not exactly up, who cares? You're playing to yourself, right? So, that's all. Just relax and have fun with your guitar. And you'll find that I still have habits, but I mean, I've had all kinds of bad habits. And eventually, as you get better and more, it's no big deal. It's just another thing that we force ourselves as beginners to try to get everything just perfect. And it's just one more thing that trips us up. Because you can't understand that if only you knew then what you knew now, you'd say, oh, I don't have to be perfect, man. I see guys playing this as a G chord. Well, it is a G chord, So it's just a different version of a G chord. But it's still a G chord, So, again, don't get caught up in how everything is supposed to be done. It needs to be done the way you would like it to be done. All right? So with that, I'm going to leave you. I'll see you again at some point next week. Just see if there's anything urgent that I missed. No, that's good. Okay. Yeah, I hope most of you are having a. I hope most of you are having. You're all having a good summer, but um, um, I hope you're having a good summer, and I hope most of you are using your guitar skills that you've been so hard working on around the campfires and various, I'm sure, pool parties or outdoor barbecues that you're doing this summer season, because that can be sometimes what it's all about, is when you whip that guitar out and start playing a couple of the songs, um, that you've been working on. That really is what it's all about. So I hope that you are enjoying that part of things. Sorry, I'm just a little bit tired today. It's been so very hot here. I don't even want, it's like an oven. It's like walking into an oven. I mean, and it's humid. I don't know how anyone can enjoy that, but it's been unbearable. So anyways, we will see you. Thanks again. Again, if you don't know me, check out my channel. There's around 400 videos there. Different things. I try to break things down, make it easier. If you like what you see, or if you think I can help, by all means subscribe. It really does mean a lot, especially as to smaller channels. And we'll see you again real soon, right? And remember, just play your guitar. That's how you're going to get better. Right. See you later.